I've mentioned in a few recent videos I've had a bit of a breakthrough. Actually, it's a pretty significant breakthrough in analyzing movements of price with a new tool that I built that's looking at momentum shifts, so changing of directions on price almost regardless of the time frame, and then recent price pivots. So, shifts in momentum are one thing, but qualifying a new direction of momentum by also paying attention to like recent price pivots in an uptrend, for instance. So this is a signal from the Algo IQ system that I built. So if I'm long off a system signal and I have these vertical stripes plot audible alerts and outputs that could be used with something like Algo Studio Pro tied to Quantower for fully automated trading, getting into a long trade, having a stop just below most recent price pivot, but then looking at prior recent price pivots of price, and then taking that into consideration as price moves laterally for a period of time, and then does give some sort of upside momentum move before declining a bit. So we're making a series of higher pivot highs. And this is the key after I get in. The bottom pivots, the pullback pivots. So getting close to reversal, a little bit of uptick, but the upper pivots are declining. And then price comes down, challenges that pivot, peeks its head through, then we get a shift in momentum. And then we're paying attention to pivots that way. And then price stabilizes after a bit of selling and starts to lift again. So I'm analyzing past pivots in relation to forward going price action once I get long. So in other words, I need to have more than one thing in alignment to change directions. So it's a multiple, uh, price action analysis. And that's why I call it Algo IQ. It's an algorithmic sequence of rules that are intelligent. It's using some IQ of looking at recent past price action and pivots and so on. So the key is the system's approach effective? Well, here's a recent long. I get a nice price action to grab a piece out of it. How I'm going to be trading this and how I've been hand trading it, testing it, is to grab an initial portion of profit with 1/3. I've been trading in units of 3. You could trade it in units of 2 or just units of 1. But in units of 3, I take 1/3 off, hold the rest, and if I get a shift in momentum, you can see there was positive, there was the ability to make profit even up to the point of reversal. So there was something there to work with for locking in some type of profits on that trade. Then I have a short trade. Then I have a long trade. And then let's move forward from here. So then the long trade has pretty decent move. So even a move like this when I'm short, at least I'd pull 1/3 out. And by the time the final amount is reversed, closed out, and I'm now in a long trade, I've locked in something. Even if the final portion gets out at scratch, break even, I've locked in some amount of profit on that trade. And that's important if the market gets into periods of consolidation. So then I'm in a long trade, and then I catch a really significant short trade. Then back to a long trade. So obviously this was profitable from here to here, and the max excursion in my, or max potential movement in my intended direction of price. Then I have a short trade, has a pretty substantial movement. I'll minimize this a bit. So the short trade has a very significant move. It catches. Then here's finally a losing trade. We have a long that gets out as a loser. There is some positive movement initially before the rollover. And there was a little bit of an unexpected news that hit the market right there. No big deal. I'm just saying, there's not really a system where you're building it to do like 90% win to loss ratio. If I can be in the low 60 percentile range and my average closed out trade activity is well over, getting to like 2.5 to 1 or 3 to 1 or greater, depending on what time frame I'm on, I have a very, very robust system. So long trade that didn't work, and then another very significant short trade. Then back to long trade. Here's one of those where after a big move down, there's some markets trying to lift a bit. We do have some positive movement in our direction on a few pushes, and it rolls over, and then we're short. So if I did not hit my benchmark to take off a third or my initial target, the whole trade would lose a bit there. Then kind of a drawn out short trade. So obviously very positive movement there in the intended direction of trade. And then wrapping up the day, there's a long trade, and it just stayed in it, and we get well past the 3 o'clock U.S. Central Time closeout. So this is a algorithmic IQ-based system where we're paying attention to momentum shifts and prior pivots leading up to the entry, and then price pivots after the entry as the overall, the core mechanisms that would keep me in trades. The nice thing, I can go down on really low time frames, like a 15, a 17, a 19 Renko on Quant Hour. And then, that would be like hyper scalping, then getting up into the 20s, 30s, and maybe the 40s would be, typical intraday trading timeframes. Anything above about a 45 Renko, now I'm getting into intraday position trading, and then higher timeframes on Renko would be moving away from intraday position trading to like swing trading. The nice thing, the system works across the board. I could use it for hyper scalping, intraday position trading, or swing trading. It works on range bar, Renko, Heikin-Ashi, time-based. The system doesn't care what bar type I'm on. I just happen to like to use it on Renko. I can use it on tick charts, volume charts, and so on. So the system is very robust, combining some multiple non-correlated items to analyze price was a bit of the breakthrough, and that pivots, paying attention to pivots, and then the nice thing, yeah, we have a lot of volatility now, and it's just kicking ass. But even if I go back and look at periods during 2023 and 2024, when the investment banks were pumping unending amounts of Fed discount window money into the markets, pretty much destroying any chance of volatility, like, I don't know, 24 out of every 25 trading days, it still does fantastic. So it doesn't get like chopped around. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to utilize this system, and I'm going to only allow access to it to a very limited amount of traders, and it's going to be through predominantly in-person trading events. I really want to make sure traders be able to leave the event and already have it effectively deployed when they're with me before they leave. I will be running it on Quant Tower. Very likely I'm going to add it to TickBlaze. I am not going to run this on NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader, now that it's been out by Kraken, being an age platform, not knowing what's going to happen with the Kraken overall purchase, and seeing that Kraken is hiring a ton of web-based developers, very likely going to push the whole NinjaTrader application in a web-based approach, maybe something to compete with TradeView. I just not interested. And some of the analysis I'm doing, it's working very effectively on Quant Tower. I know TickBlaze can run it. I've used TickBlaze in the past, and that's I want to keep it on a limited amount of platforms. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving specific instrument templates. So the live trading events, you'll be getting a indicator with some very expensive code protection through a third party group and an activation deactivation process. And you're going to get templates to run it on a time frame for 4 different instruments: ES, the NQ, or the micro version, uh, gold, and oil. So when you come to the event, you're going to have it all set up and running on 4 separate instruments. And then you can use it on whatever you want, but at least you'll have access to trade the system on gold. You'll have access to trade the system on crude oil. You'll have access to trade the system on the ES, and you'll have access to trade the system on the NQ. That will be the entry level access, and it'll all be taught through we'll have a Sunday get together for about 3 hours to make sure you understand how to load everything. We have you all ready to go. And then we'll all be doing live trading Monday and Tuesday with the system. Has outputs to be used with third-party tools. So you can tie it right away into Algo Studio Pro if you're on Quantower. It has audible alerts. So everything you'd ever need to tie the tools into third-party applications is out of the gates part of the thing. It's very, very robust. So I'm willing to give out the system on a few set templates and a few set of instruments. I may or may not expand that over time, but if you have the ability to trade the system live on 4 instruments all at the same time, whether you only choose to trade one of them, 2 of them, 3, or all 4, that's up to you. But that way, you can trade more than one market. Some of you just don't like the NQ. That's fine. You can trade the ES, you can trade oil, you can trade gold. The system could be used on FX and crypto, but I think the smartest approach, if I'm going to have people getting access to this, very limited amounts of traders getting access to this, is that everything is done in person. So you have a turnkey approach to trading. It's loaded up. You know how to use it. You see how I'm using it in both a manual discretionary use and tied to third-party tools for fully automated trading, and that you have templates that you're already trading with on the Monday, Tuesday of the event. I'm really not going to have a lot of traders per event, somewhere between 5, maybe 7 max. I'll probably do an event the second weekend, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the second Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in May, then the second Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in June, second Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, July, that kind of thing. So 5 to 7 per event, and it's turnkey. You're not going to have to do any optimization or any of that stuff. This is, you come to the event, I load it, I show you how to run it. I'm running it live for 2 days. When you leave, you should not have any reason at all to not be profitable and not understand how to operate it. This is really working very well. And the main thing is I've had the breakthrough for some time, but I just wanted to look on a wide range of price action, types of price action from past history and a wide range of instruments. And I can't find a period in history, and I can't find an instrument, whether I've looked at FX, some cryptos, futures, the predominantly traded futures instruments. I just have not found a instrument yet that it doesn't continue to be profitable. So I'm going to transition a lot of my focus away from ongoing tools development and selling one-off or indicator packages, and move more into this very focused approach with very specific, very profitable systems that I can utilize for in-person, very limited access. For any questions, you can contact me at info@gridalgo.com. Obviously, this will be fantastic for prop trading, trading your own accounts, and so on. And if you have questions about additional program details, just shoot me an email and I'll get you more info and I'll have more videos on this system in the days